So there's been a lot in the news about the New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Some conservative influencers have been criticizing his race, religion, and using fairly dirty tactics in this regard, but this guy is a serious danger. And the main reason, is because he's a socialist through and through. And socialism, with no exceptions, brings a destruction on society that is beyond comprehension to most. So we're going to get into an article about this in a moment, but first we want to show you this clip. CNN's asking him if he likes capitalism, and here's his response.
So when people say democratic socialist, right, and I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
So when he says income inequality, he's not talking about the fact that there is indeed a problem with cost of living and government spending and taxes and things of this nature, which can be solved somewhat through pure capitalism, not crony capitalism. He's talking about a redistribution of resources, those who work hard for their money forcibly redistributing it to those who don't or don't earn as much. Someone who works their whole life, perhaps after completing a very expensive degree, likely works well in excess of the hours contractually required of them, maybe invests wisely, acquires some financial independence, giving all of that up to those who don't. It's quite literally theft. So I want to read you some of the points from this article. Seized by the means of production, Mamdani lays bare his agenda. Zohran Mamdani's run for mayor of New York City is a clear and present danger to the stability, economic health, and democratic foundation of both the city and the nation. His platform is rooted in a radical socialist ideology that has, time and time again, led to failure, repression, and suffering wherever it has been tried. And thanks to the clip surfacing on social media, we see Mamdani is not hiding this. In fact, he's been strikingly open about what he believes and what he plans to do. We're going to play you that clip now. Mays says, this is not terrible AI. It's a real message from the current frontrunner for New York City mayor to his socialist comrades, wearing a really hideous jumper, by the way, while he's doing it. The end goal of seizing the means of production, he says. Take a listen.
What the purpose is about this entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. But making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they are given. We have to continue to elect more socialists. And we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are doing both of these things in tandem, because it is critical for us to both meet people where they're at and to also organize for what is correct and for what is right, and to ensure that over time we can bring people to that issue. The ramifications of victory here is the difference between life and death for so many of our brothers, sisters, and family beyond the binary across this borough of Queens. It's the difference between having cash bail anymore or not. It's the difference between having sex work be decriminalized and not. And with every battle that we fight as socialists, we need to remember what the stakes are and ground ourselves in them, and why those stakes are important and critical to us as individuals.
So there are so many things wrong with this. We have to continue to elect more socialists. That's literally a nightmare. It would be like having Kamala Harris running every state. The end goal of seizing the means of production. Sorry, what? He's even spoken about having government-run grocery stores. Maybe some people think that sounds great, but for those who know the end goal of the ultimate socialists at the top of the food chain, that means access to food based on your compliance. No, thank you. The article continues his current proposals, including, as we said, government-run grocery stores, free childcare and buses, $30 minimum wage, rent freezes, and massively taxing the wealthy, fit the same pattern of central planning that has failed in every country that tried it. These are not practical policies aimed at long-term economic health. They are mechanisms for government control over every facet of economic life. Even when he tries to soften his message in mainstream interviews, the truth comes through. When asked on Meet the Press if billionaires should exist, he said, "I don't think that we should have billionaires." Well, that's not a tax plan. It's a declaration of ideological war on success, wealth creation, and the very people who drive New York City's economy. Whilst people have become totally disenfranchised and are looking for any option, it's understandable, though not agreeable, that some, particularly those on the left, would see merit in some of his convictions. A recent interview with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene outlined this perfectly, actually. The younger generation currently does not see a future. They can't get jobs. They can't ever see themselves owning a home. The promises of the American dream are drifting further on the horizon for many, and they're looking for a solution. Again, socialism isn't the solution. But the point is, unless these issues are properly addressed, people are going to continue moving towards more radical ideas. Now, whilst capitalism itself has some issues, especially crony capitalism, as we mentioned before, with loopholes for private equity and venture capitalists to virtually take over and demolish small businesses and mom and pop stores, crushing the small guy. Yes, these are some things that need to be investigated heavily and corrected, but socialism is not the answer. Socialism is literally the prequel to communism.